Train harder! Harder!
Alright guys, what's going on? So there's been a huge debate recently about volume versus intensity. So Jeff Cavaliere, who basically says that volume is killing your gains, while Jeff Nippard saying that intensity is killing your gains. Basically, I'm going to talk about and give my opinion on this whole debate and what I believe in and what I currently am doing. So if you're interested, definitely stick around and let's get into it.
This epidemic of people in this zone over here, wallowing in this zone, where they think they're doing the right thing by adding more and more volume, but their intensity is not adequate enough to actually create change.
So what Jeff Cavaliere says, people sacrifice intensity to add more volume. So essentially what that means is that they'll do more sets for a given workout or for each body part with less intensity. Because if you think about it, if you do 20 sets per muscle group each workout, you're obviously not going to push yourself hard enough, because if you went all out for all those 20 sets, there'd be no chance in hell that you'd finish all those 20 sets. You'd probably stop at like 5 or 10. However, if you hold yourself back at like an RPE 6, 7, I mean, yeah, it'd be easy. Anyone, my grandpa can do 20 sets of just the bench press, holding like 3 or 4 reps in the tank. Anyone can do that. So Jeff makes a really good point saying that people sacrifice intensity to add more volume, which is killing your gains. So essentially, people are making up for their intensity with volume, which is not the way to go. Why people do this is because it's easier. I mean, it is easier. Like, would you rather push yourself super hard, RPE 10, going all out, or would you rather leave a couple reps in the tank, going a bit easier, not really breaking a sweat? I mean, which one is easier? Obviously, doing more sets is easier. And not everyone wants to train intensity, so they'll add more sets. However, the issue is you can't just keep adding more and more sets into your workout. I mean, you can't just go into a workout and do 50 plus sets for your chest. That is just overtraining, and it's pointless, really. You gotta up the intensity. Now, when it comes to Jeff Nippard's opinion, he says moderate to high volume is good, but you gotta leave a couple of reps in the tank. So basically the exact opposite of what Jeff Cavaliere says.
Generally speaking, that's gonna mean a moderate to high volume of training, again, fine-tuned to your training status and so on, but also a more moderate level of effort, where you're generally leaving 1 to 2, maybe 3 reps in the tank, and occasionally going to failure.
He says the more volume is better because you're not pushing yourself hard enough, so you can add more volume. And now the big issue with this is that people often think of leaving 2 to 3 reps in the tank as maybe 5, because people automatically already hold themselves back, and when you tell them to not go as hard, they don't know what RPE 8 stands for. I mean, they could be leaving 5 reps in the tank. I mean, who knows, right? So it's really hard especially for beginners, to actually know what their actual limit is. So it's really hard for them to say. Personally, what I think is a big problem with this is that if you go into the gym knowing consciously that you're gonna hold yourself back, every single exercise I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave 2 to 3 reps in the tank. I'm not gonna push myself hard. I'm just gonna do right the amount where I feel like it's gonna get hard. I'm gonna stop. That's where I'm gonna stop. Just thinking about that, I mean, that's not the point of working out, guys. That is not the point. You wanna push yourself hard. I remember my first ever workout, I mean, I did everything so wrong, but the intensity was up there. I mean, I literally went every single set to failure. Bench press, squat, deadlift, everything to failure. It was intense. And now, out of nowhere, and I mean nowhere, Greg Doucette, IFBB Pro, and is not a doctor by the way, comes out of nowhere, and he made a whole entire video about this, talking about volume versus intensity, which one he agrees with, and this is basically what he has to say.
Work harder! How hard? Harder than you worked! How many reps of failure? Harder! Just go harder! Stop it! Harder! More effort! More intensity! Go freaking harder! But then I can't do my volume because I need 20 sets. Do less sets! How many sets should you do in a workout? Is it 10, 20, 30, and is it 3 times a week, 2 times a week? What's the minimum effective volume? What is the max intensity? What is RPE? Stop all the scientific mumbo jumbo. Train harder! Harder!
So essentially what he wants you to do is train harder, basically. So yeah, having covered all of these kind of opinions from Jeff Cavaliere, Jeff Nippard, and Greg Doucette, which one do I agree with? I mean, as easy and moronic as it may sound, I really agree with Greg Doucette. The results speak for itself. I mean, look at him, he's a freaking beast. And I really like that philosophy of going into the gym, going all out, leaving nothing left. I mean, that's just the way training should be. It's a really kind of old school approach to it, because there's been a lot of scientific studies showing that you should leave some reps in the tank, blah blah blah. But honestly, at the end of the day, working out is really about pushing yourself, pushing your body. So I do strongly agree with Greg Doucette. However, not entirely, because especially for the big 3 lifts, squat, bench press and deadlift, it's always you gotta hold back a bit. I mean, I'm not saying literally go like leaving 5 reps in the tank, but just maybe at an RPE of 8 or 9, because they're such big compound lifts, your risk of injury is a lot higher as opposed to doing a single bicep curl. I mean, doing a heavy squat or a heavy deadlift can cause a lot more injury. So you really got to be careful. You got to make sure your form is on point, and you do not want to sacrifice your form for intensity. I mean, once your form is like getting pretty bad, you should stop. I mean, you do not want to sacrifice form for getting more reps in or more sets in. So that is kind of the biggest thing for me, is not always to push yourself for the big compound lifts, but when it comes to isolation exercises for like chest flies or dumbbell curls, tricep push downs, blah blah blah, you gotta go hard. I mean, you really gotta go to failure in all of those sets, in my opinion. If you're not doing that, I mean, it's not the same feeling, you know? I mean, it's just, in my personal opinion, you should go to failure with those exercises, but not for the compound lifts. And that's basically my entire review of this video. I highly agree with Jeff Cavaliere, who says volume is killing your gains. You gotta up the intensity. Jeff Nippard, I mean, not so much. I mean, he has a really good point. I do agree with him slightly that you should kind of hold back, especially for the compound lifts, but for the isolations, you gotta push yourself. And then Greg Doucette, I mean, train harder. That's basically it. You gotta train hard. And yeah, honestly, you can take things away from all 3 of them and put them into your own kind of training style, which one you prefer and which one you like. Because at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't really matter who's right or wrong. It's about what you enjoy and what you can stick with and what you're consistent with. If you enjoy holding yourself back, then do that. If you're consistent with that, do that. If you enjoy training hard and pushing yourself every single workout, do that. I mean, there's no right or wrong here. You'll make results either way. Just do what you like, do what you enjoy, and that's basically it. And with that being said, guys, I'm gonna end the video right here. So I know it was kind of a bit of a different kind of video, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.